Have you ever noticed something strange? You used to check social media every day, multiple times, without even thinking about it. And then one day, you just stopped caring. Not because someone told you to, not because you decided to quit. You just lost interest. And here's what nobody talks about. This isn't laziness. This isn't being out of touch. This is your brain protecting you. Before we go deeper, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most people think this happens because older adults don't understand technology, or because they're too slow to keep up. But that's completely wrong. The real reason is far more fascinating. Your brain after 50 starts filtering differently, not worse, differently. Let me show you what I mean. Think about this. When you were younger, you could scroll for hours, seeing hundreds of posts, liking, commenting, sharing, and it felt normal, even exciting. But now, after about 10 minutes, something feels off. You feel drained, overwhelmed, like you've been in a crowded room for too long. Pay attention to this. That feeling isn't random. It's your brain sending you a signal most people ignore. But you're starting to hear it clearly. Here's a real example. You open Facebook in the morning. You see someone's vacation photos, then a political argument, then a recipe video, then someone complaining about their day, then a celebrity scandal, then a sponsored ad, then a friend's birthday reminder, all within 60 seconds. And something inside you says, stop. Not out loud, but you feel it. Your body tenses up. Your eyes get tired faster. You might even sigh without realizing it. This is more common than you think, because your brain is doing something incredibly smart. It's recognizing noise, not just any noise, emotional noise, information you don't need, content that doesn't improve your life. And here's the detail almost nobody notices. Your tolerance for unnecessary stimulation drops dramatically after 50, not because you're getting weaker, but because you're getting wiser. Your brain has spent decades learning what matters and what doesn't. Social media, most of it doesn't matter, and your mind knows it. Let me give you another situation. You see a post about someone's perfect life, their new car, their expensive vacation, their flawless family photos. 20 years ago, you might have felt envious or competitive, or like you needed to post something better. But now, you just scroll past, not because you don't care about people, but because you care more about reality. You've lived long enough to know nobody's life is perfect. Those photos show one moment, not the full story, and that awareness changes everything. Here's another thing you've probably noticed. You open Instagram to check one thing, maybe a message from a friend, or a photo someone tagged you in. But before you know it, you're 5 minutes deep into strangers' content, people you don't know, places you'll never visit, problems that aren't yours. And when you close the app, you feel empty, not satisfied, empty, like you just ate junk food for your brain. There's something deeper happening here, something most people your age are experiencing but can't quite explain. Because behind this behavior, there's a psychological pattern that changes everything. Your brain is shifting from collecting to curating. Let me break that down. When you're younger, your brain wants more connections, more information, more experiences. It's building a database of the world, learning who to trust, what to value, how things work. But after 50, that database is mostly complete. You don't need more random information. You need meaningful information. You don't need more connections. You need deeper connections. And social media? It's designed for quantity, not quality. It's built to keep you scrolling, keep you reacting, keep you consuming. But your brain doesn't want to consume anymore. It wants to digest, to reflect, to focus. Here's where this gets really interesting. Scientists call this cognitive selectivity, but I'll explain it in plain terms. Your attention becomes more valuable as you age, not less. More, because you realize something powerful. Time is limited, and every minute you spend scrolling is a minute you're not spending on something real. A real conversation, a real hobby, a real moment of peace. Think about this for a second. Have you noticed you prefer texting one person over posting to hundreds? Have you noticed you'd rather read a full article than scan 10 headlines? Have you noticed you care less about likes and more about genuine responses? That's not you being antisocial. That's you being smarter, more selective, more intentional. And here's what makes this even more fascinating. Your brain is also protecting you from something dangerous: comparison fatigue. For years, maybe decades, you've been exposed to other people's highlight reels, their best moments, their biggest wins, their carefully edited lives. And somewhere deep inside, even if you didn't realize it, that took a toll. Not a huge toll, but a constant, low-level stress, wondering if you measured up, wondering if your life was good enough, wondering if you were missing out. After 50, your brain says, enough. I know who I am. I know what I've accomplished. I don't need external validation anymore. And that shift is incredibly powerful. It's not bitterness. It's not giving up. It's liberation. Let me give you one more example that'll probably hit home. You're sitting at home on a quiet evening. No plans, just you and some free time. 10 years ago, you might have opened Instagram to see what everyone else was doing. Now, you'd rather watch a show you like, or read something interesting, or just sit in silence, and you don't feel like you're missing anything. Because you're not. You're exactly where you want to be. This is what psychological maturity looks like. It's knowing that other people's activities don't define your worth. It's knowing that silence isn't emptiness. It's knowing that less can actually be more. Here's another detail worth mentioning. Have you ever started typing a comment on a post and then deleted it? Not because you were scared, but because you realized this doesn't matter. This argument won't change anyone's mind. This debate isn't worth my energy. This discussion will be forgotten in an hour. That moment of deletion, that's wisdom. That's your brain recognizing what's worth your time and what isn't, and choosing wisely. Most younger people can't do that yet. They feel compelled to respond, to defend, to engage. But you've learned the power of silence, the power of walking away, the power of not every battle being worth fighting. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. Social media was never designed for people over 50. It was designed for younger brains. Brains that crave novelty. Brains that seek approval. Brains that are still figuring out identity. But your brain? It's past that stage. It doesn't need constant stimulation. It doesn't need external validation. It doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. And that's not a weakness. That's a superpower. You're experiencing something most younger people can't even imagine yet. The freedom to disconnect without fear. The confidence to miss out without regret. The wisdom to choose presence over performance. This isn't about being old-fashioned. This isn't about refusing to adapt. This is about your mind evolving into its most sophisticated form. A form that values depth over breadth, quality over quantity, meaning over noise. Think about how different your relationship with your phone is now. You used to check it constantly. Now you might leave it in another room. You used to feel anxious without it. Now you feel relieved when it's on silent. You used to need to document everything. Now you're content just experiencing things. That shift happened gradually. So gradually you might not have noticed. But it's profound. It represents a complete rewiring of your priorities, from external to internal, from performance to presence, from anxiety to peace. So if you've been feeling guilty about not being active on social media, stop. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is simply operating at a higher level. A level that prioritizes what truly matters. Real relationships, real experiences, real peace, and honestly, that's exactly where you should be. So here's what I want you to do. Hit that like button if this resonated with you. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And tell me in the comments, does this happen to you, or have you noticed this in someone else? I really want to hear your thoughts on this, because there's something even more powerful that happens after this pattern sets in. A behavior that appears once you stop chasing social validation, and almost nobody talks about it. but I'll explain it in the next video.